Hey boys and girls, welcome. This is our flip lesson on writing slope-intercept form. So what we're going to be doing is wanting to represent linear relationships with a table today. That's what we're focusing on from this TEK. So please make sure that we are getting out our spirals to write our notes. If you don't have your spiral, this whole flip lesson is completely pointless because in order to learn it, you really have to be able to reflect back on it later and talk about it in class. And if you haven't written the notes, then it's really pointless. So please pause the video, get out your spirals, because I want this to be a success. I want us to be able to learn from the video we're making today. So that being said, let's get going on how do you write equations in a slope-intercept form when you are given it in a table. So it's going to be a step-by-step process, and that's why I'm saying it's so important to have your spiral, because you need to be able to write down these steps as we go. So let's move forward into our first example here, or sorry, our actual steps. So like I said, pause this video now, get out your spiral, and write these 3 steps, because they will be upcoming questions that we're going to be having to type these in as an open-ended comment. So I am even going to stop for a moment here and let's write them all down. Okay, step 1, find the slope. Write the change in y's over the change in x's. Obviously I've already written it, but you need to pause it and do that. Step 2, find the y-intercept, increase and decrease the x and y's in the table until you get x as 0, because that's going to help you find that y-intercept. Then once you have your slope and your y-intercept, you're ready for the third step, which is to substitute your numbers into that slope-intercept form. So you're going to take what you got and put it into your slope-intercept form, which is like what you're seeing here on the video. You've got your 2 over 3 would be an example of your slope-intercept form, because that's AB form. Your slope needs to be written as form AB, because then you'll find what your rise and your run is when you're walking through it. Okay, now we're ready for our first example.
If you don't know what to do,
oh, no, sorry. We got y equals mx plus b. Duh. How did I forget to write that one down? So I'm going to probably even put that here next to my essential question, that y equals mx plus b. And let's make a note of that stuff that we talked about in class, that your m is going to be your slope, and it would be written in AB form, and your b is your y-intercept. When we find what x is for 0, that's how we're going to find that y-intercept. So in our first table here. Okay, here is our first example. Go ahead and copy this table into your notes. Make a spot in your notes where you're writing the table down. So let's go ahead and write it down. You've got your x value and you've got your y value. And I want you to notice on this table it doesn't show x as 0, so we're going to have to find that in step 2. So you've got 2, 4, 6, 8. 4, 6, 8. For your y, for y it's 3, 2, 1, 0, and we are ready to go for this first example. So step 1 was to find the slope, write the change in y's over the change in x's. So first let's figure out what the changes in y are. So let's start at the top of the table here and work our way down. To go from 3 to 2 here, it's 1 step, -1, so -1 there. So then do it again, -1 again, do it again, -1 again, do it again, -1 again. So the change in y is -1. So let's write that down as our numerator of our fraction for a -1. Now to find the denominator, because it's y over x, let's find the change in x. So as I go down in x this time, I'm actually increasing. So I'm going to go +2 for that. I'm going to go down again, +2 again, and here we go, +2. So this does look like it's going to be linear, because it's got that constant change there, even though it doesn't start at 0. It's gonna, sorry, it doesn't start in the origin, so it's not proportional, but it is still linear because it is constant through the table. So our slope is -1 over 2. We've got that part of our formula ready to go. Step 1 is complete, and we are ready to move into step 2. Step 2, find the y-intercept, increase or decrease the y's until you get to where x is 0. So that is going to be our step 2. We're going to be
All right, so if we look at
working
the
through that
table
next. So
right
let
now,
me kind of rewrite our table here. We have
my
room
x
to
was
make x
2.
0 because right
Since
now
it's
you're
above
out of room
0,
on
I
the
have to
table. So
decrease
let's
it.
go
So
ahead
I'm going to
and
decrease that
create
number
a separate little
until it's
table
0.
here
Now,
where
if we
we can
look over
see,
here at how
okay,
much we're
I've got the
changing,
beginning of
the
my
x's are
table
changing
here
by an
where
amount
you've
of
got your
2.
2,
So if I decrease this
there you go,
one
where you've
time,
got
so
your
like
2
if
and
we
your
had
3, and
a
let's leave room
table here,
above that for our making x
and our
0.
2,
So
3
before
was here,
we kept
what would be above it?
increasing,
So if we went
or
the
sorry,
other direction, we would be
increasing
decreasing it
2
by 2. So
by
now it would be
2. So if we want to go
0. So
backwards,
we
let's
decrease our x
decrease it by 2,
values
and that's going to get the 0 we were
by
looking
the
for.
amount that it's
We were
changing. So
wanting
it's
to
changing
have
by 2
0 to
every
help us
time.
find that
So we're going to
y-intercept
decrease it
because the
by 2 so that
y-intercept
we can
happens
get
when
our
x
x
is
to be
0.
0.
So
Once
whatever
we
I
have our
did
x
on
is
this side
0,
is
we
going to be
know what our
different than what I do on the
y-intercept will
right
be.
based on
Okay, so
what
my x
the
is
table
0.
said for y.
Now we want to
Now
know
on
what
the
is
right
this
side
number
here
right
for
here
y,
in
we
the
had been
y column.
decreasing by 1, decreasing by 1,
So
decreasing by 1.
the
So if I'm going to
y's
go up one
over
spot,
are the
instead of
change in them
decreasing
is
by 1 like I
1,
did before,
and
let's
if
go
you
ahead
look at
and
the
increase
y's,
by
they're
1.
going up
So
from
that
1
top
to
part of this
2
table
is
here that
plus
lines
1,
up
2
with
to 3 is
0
plus
for
1.
x would be
So
our
this
y-intercept,
number is going to be a
4.
4.
So
So
4
when my
tells
x
us
is
that's our
0, my
y-intercept or
y
your
is 4.
b
So my
from your
b for
equation
this
in
problem
y equals mx
is
plus b. All right, we are ready for step 3. Step 3 is going to be able to be to substitute those numbers that we just found for m and for b into our y-intercept formula.
4.
So let's put that in there now. Let's
Okay,
write
and
down,
now
let's start
step
with our
3 is
formula.
to
Let's write
substitute those
y
numbers into the
equals
slope-intercept
mx
form.
plus
So
b.
my slope-intercept
And
form
then
is
let's
y
put
equals
where m
mx
is, let's
plus
put that
b.
negative
My
1
m is negative
half.
1/2, so we're at y
So we've
equals
got a
negative
negative slope. You can tell
1
right
over
away if you go to graph this, which
2x
we're not doing today.
plus, because it's a
X plus
positive,
b was 4. So
4.
let's put 4 in for b, and that is our formula.
And
Now you're going to
there,
have
we
the
just took a
opportunity to try
table
this on your own.
and
I've got an
wrote
example for you.
um,
Thank you so much for your time today, guys. Again, this entire video is pointless if you didn't have your notes. So take the time to get them out. If you need to rewatch it again and have your notes, then that's what we have to do. But to learn, you're going to have your notes, or you're not actually doing anything other than just sitting around. Oh, I love hearing Miss Fraser's voice, which we all do. But you need to have your notes for class. All right. Thank you so much again, guys. I'll see you in class.